So here's the problem. Years ago, life insurance professionals would receive in-depth sales training, not only showing different life insurance products and how they work, but the advanced planning concepts that bring in the 5, 6, and 7-figure commission checks. Fast forward to today, and those types of training programs are almost non-existent. To solve the problem of inefficient marketing efforts and advisors stumbling around trying to understand how to do business in the advanced markets, Trained Advisor leads the way in showing top-level producers how to acquire, identify, present, and close advanced life insurance cases. Welcome to the weekly 10-minute concept training with Trained Advisor.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on our presentation today. As we go through these presentations, I really try to put the effort in to make sure that I give enough information to really help you grow your business and really find those prospects and clients that you're looking for. Today, I'm going to go through chapter 1 of my book, Orchestrate Your Legacy, and I want to really help you understand how I break down these cases and really make them a good planning tool for the client and help them to understand that they can get to the goals they want to achieve. As we go through this, I really start with helping the client understand that there is a planning cycle, that this isn't just let's sit down and get this all done at one time, but it really takes multiple steps in here to get it right. And even after we get everything implemented, we're going to continue to review and revise everything that we've done. But step 1 is we have to gather the information. We've got to get the background of the client and know who they are, and then finally what they want to achieve. Because all of the things that we do revolve around their goals and it's their planning. They've got to understand it. This is for them. As the goals in this case in chapter 1, and this is a real case that I came across years ago, and so the results and all that are what you see. But the goal of this was to design and implement a legacy plan, help them with their asset protection plan, reduce their income and their estate taxes, and then find a way for those estate taxes that we can eliminate, how best to pay for them. In any of my legacy planning cases, we start with the fundamental planning, and the fundamental estate planning provides an umbrella over all of the planning. It helps us to ensure that everything that the client does in the planning process, all of their assets are going to pass to the heirs that they designate. And in the process, we can help avoid probate. So if you start looking at the revocable living trust, the reason this is a key to all of our planning is because it, there again, really is the foundation to get to all of the advanced planning. So what I look at is, here we're going to have at our first death, we're going to take this trust, and we could split it out into a survivor's trust, a family trust, which is going to be irrevocable, and if we need it, we'll have a bypass trust. Those are set up as in the ABC trust planning to make sure that we don't have any estate tax issues at the first death. But then when we come down to the second death, then everything really combines back together and we can pass it down to the heirs. What I really like to do is come down in a lot of cases and have these, instead of giving outright to the heirs, set this up so that we have lifetime trust. So those lifetime trusts will provide not only a good way to help the heirs with those assets, but also to provide asset protection around those inherited assets, whether we need the asset protection from creditors or future divorce, whatever. The next step is after we get that fundamental planning is to look at how can we get some of the discount planning done, but more importantly, how we start passing on a large estate. So this can either be an LLC or this could be a limited partnership, whatever fits best. But really what we're looking at is we want control to go to mom and dad or whoever the senior generation is. And out of that control, we want them to control the cash, where are the investments going, who recognizes the income tax, and who gets to account for the expenses. And so if you think about those items, that's what we allocate on the separate tax return, the partnership return that we're going to file, and then it'd be a K1 to everybody else. But that non-controlling interest, that is what we'll start taking into and giving to the next generation. So if you think that's the heirs, this allows us to start gifting now and moving some of that to the next generation while mom and dad are alive, so we can not only reduce the amount of the estate, but also start taking some of that future appreciation and moving that to the next generation. So you'll hear this as an estate freeze. That's what we're doing. We're freezing at today's values so that we can deal with the estate tax with more of a fixed number. Also, that non-controlling interest can, you can see that can go into the legacy plan because we can put it into the dynasty trust if we've set one up, or just into whatever trust planning we're looking at. Now when we come down to the legacy trust, I like to use a dynasty trust in place in this spot, because a dynasty trust, if properly set up, can last for multiple generations. So we're always going to be looking at, how many generations are we looking for? Also, remember, you got generation skipping tax that you have to account for. But now this will be a good place to put our life insurance. So in this case, in chapter 1 of the book, we're not going to be able to move all of a $40 million estate overnight, but we can put life insurance in place now. If mom and dad were to die early, we have a way to pay for that estate tax on a leveraged basis. If we put the life insurance outside of the estate into a dynasty trust, now at mom and dad's death, the insurance proceeds will come into the dynasty trust just like any other life insurance trust. And then they can give cash to the estate in exchange for assets. So it's a good way to protect those assets from the estate, provide the estate with liquidity to pay the taxes, and now we've got this out. But what I like from a dynasty trust or a legacy trust perspective, this is going to continue as long as we have money really to keep the trust going. And there's different states that we can set up dynasty trusts. Not every state will allow it, but for those states that allow it, this trust, as long as there's money, can last forever. And then for the beneficiaries of the trust, what I like is we can come in here and put incentives, or really we can put disincentives. And I just walked a client through this yesterday, and I told them, this is your money. How would you want it to be used? And if you think about this, what values do you want to instill in the future generations? And how would you use that money? What would you write that check for if you were still alive and still could do that? And with a perpetual values trust set up inside the dynasty trust, mom and dad can have influence for generations to go. The other things that I like getting people to think about here is, how do you want the money to come out? Do you want this money to pay for education? Do you want it to be used for helping your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids buy homes, buy, help start businesses? Whatever you want, you can put those terms inside this trust. But it's a great way to help that legacy not die in 1 or 2 generations, but move on for multiple generations, and really help the family really get a leg up on everybody else, because we're not going to waste the money on estate tax. We're going to make sure we have a plan that avoids probate and really, provides incentives for the next generations to be productive. And so I appreciate you getting on and going through this presentation with me. For more information, if you don't have a copy of my book, click on the link below. And in this, book, you're going to find, the case studies are very real and very detailed. Plus, there's an appendix that goes through a lot of the estate planning topics, so you can get more background there. If you ever have questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or by email. I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you next time.